If your high school season didn't go the way you like, it's probably because of one of four things. Number one, you may have overstressed. Maybe you overcut, you cut too much weight, or you cut too much weight too long. You're supposed to wait till after Christmas. We talked about that. Or maybe you undertrained in the off season. A lot of us do that. We don't train enough in the off season, and you don't have the skill set to win a state title or a state medal. Maybe you might come close, but at the end of the day, you just can't fake your way through it. And the last thing I would say is you forget to have fun. So, over stress. Make sure that you are spending, we always say what? You should spend 2 to 3 hours a week studying the sports psychology side of wrestling. And our YouTube channel has some great things. There's tons of free stuff on the internet. You should listen to all the Thomas Gilman, Helen Marolas, David Taylor, Kyle Day, Cale Sanderson interviews. I mean, they give their secrets away, and you're busy scrolling TikTok, looking at stupid stuff when you could be learning. So you need to spend 2 to 3 hours a week studying, and you need to understand kind of the key concepts, but ultimately you're going to do it a different way. Terry Brands had a different mental approach than Cale Sanderson. They're both Olympians and Olympic medalist, but they're different. But there's some key concepts there. If you hear them talk, there's a lot of similarities. So you got to figure out how you do it. Same with technique. Jordan Burroughs hits his double leg different than Brandon Slay. They're both Olympic champions with their double leg, but they had to figure out how they did it. And then Slay had to figure out how he was going to hit his. So there's some common themes to wrestling technique and skill and conditioning and weightlifting. But ultimately, you have to just relax and have confidence and say, that's not going to work for me. Don't be so desperate to be great that you become desperate. You don't want to be too coachable. So trust your instincts a little bit, but you got to figure this out, and it's going to take some studying. Your confidence is kind of like a plant. It needs a little attention each week. Otherwise, it's gonna fade away. Your single leg will fade away. Maybe you can squat 300 pounds. You take a month or two off. You're not going to squat that anymore. Maybe you can run a 5.5 minute mile. Let's see what you can do after a month off of not running. That will fade out too. So it's constant attention. So spend that time just studying the resources around you, or buy a couple of books, right? And read those and study. Our book could possibly be helpful. There's some chapters in there. We've had several kids get their senior year pictures taken with that book because they said it changed their life. So there's some great things in there that I've learned over the years that I shared. That's on Amazon, The Purler Way, if you had interest. If not, that's fine too. Overcutting. Don't cut too much weight and don't cut too early. Okay, so we're not going to go into this. Our YouTube channel has a playlist on weight loss. You should be a subscriber there. You can learn a lot there. You can go really deep with us. There's almost too much information. When I was a young aspiring wrestler, there was not enough information. Now there's too much. You can get lost. Ours is a channel, and there's a few guys that you should go very deep with. We're one of them. But, just some common sense weight cutting measures and practices and things. I mean, I can't go over it. We have videos on our YouTube channel. But obviously cutting too much weight, not good. There's no right way or healthy way to do that. There just isn't. And if you're cutting a lot of weight, you want to wait until after Christmas. You don't want to cut. Why would you cut weight for 4 months a year, plus most of October, 5 months a year, when you can wait and you only have to cut weight that last 6 weeks of season? And you make scratch weight once, then you get that 2 pounds allowance. So I would not get down to my state championship weight until the very last minute. So overcutting is an issue. Undertraining in the off season, I mean, you just got to put time in. I don't know. Some people say, my son wants to be great. And I'm like, well, they need to wrestle here. They need to do this. They're like, well, we don't want them to burn out. I'm like, well, you can't have it both ways, right? It's like, I want to go outside, but I don't want to get hit by lightning. It's like, okay, then stay inside. Well, I want to go outside though. Then go. But I don't want to get hit by lightning. Well, then don't go. I mean, people are very weird sometimes, and it can be a little bit frustrating. But I mean, if you want it, go practice. I don't know. If you get burned out, take a couple days off, right? I'm on the wrestling mat 62% of the weekends. I literally work every weekend, and I'm not complaining. It's the life I chose. But I mean, your dad's working his ass off right now, so is your mom. So quit complaining. Get out there and make something out of yourself, okay? But you got to put more time in the off season if you want to be great. And you need to remember to have fun. There's a famous sports psych. He's a baseball phenom. He's an older gentleman. He might have even passed away by now, but he says, I spend half of my time with professional baseball players, just reminding them to have fun. And it's something that we all can do, right? We can all kind of fall into these scary thoughts, right? I've done it as an athlete, and then I've had big success too. And when I had big success was when I was enjoying it. And when I didn't have big success, and sometimes when I wasn't enjoying it, I still won because I was just better than my opponents. But that's another thing. When you have 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 guys or girls in your weight class in your state that are all within 1 or 2 points of you, everything's got to go right. That referee's call on the edge has to go right. That when you're only have to worry about one guy or one girl in the state and you're 4 to 8 points better than everybody else, you know, you can have a little bit of an injury. You can have a difficult weight cut. Maybe your confidence is shaky a little bit. Maybe the ref makes a bad call. It doesn't matter. You know, a whole lot of things have to go right 100% of the time. So there's no shortcut to just getting very, very damn good. And if you can become a very skilled and dangerous wrestler, that's going to help you guys tremendously. And last thing I would say that probably is another one I should have mentioned is, high protein intake. I think a lot of us, we neglect our strength training during the season, and we neglect our protein intake, and our bodies are worn down by the time the state series comes. And like I said, there's not a whole lot of margin for error. And just being, if you're 10% weaker than you were at the beginning of season, that could possibly cost you. So either way, write down what cost you your great season. And let's say you won the state title, but you don't feel great about some of the matches or some of the tournament, or maybe a dual meet that you had a month or two ago, or this part of season, and you just look back, and we're kind of trying to take inventory now and say, how can I improve? Get a pen and a paper. And see, you need to study yourself, and when you come to my 28-day camp, we talk about having a study guide, Nick Purler owner's manual. You need to have an owner's manual on you. You need to quit studying so much of other people. If you want to watch wrestling, great, but you shouldn't study everybody. John Smith always said, don't watch videos. He told me, because I was the same way. He's like, Nick, when we're going 3-man groups and live in this Oklahoma State wrestling room, when your 2 opponents are wrestling and you're taking, and you're sitting out and taking that break, he's like, I want you to put your head down. He's like, I don't want you to watch anybody. You got to be so selfish. All you worry about is yourself. I don't want you ever to watch anybody else, at least for months. You got to just worry about yourself. And I thought that was tremendous advice. So I would like to share that with you as well. But your problems aren't going to fix themselves. Remember the good phrase, what you allow is what will continue. If you're still allowing yourself to have the same old bad habits and weaknesses that you had a week ago or 5 years ago, it's like, dude, when are you going to fix it? You've got to attack. So make a list, attack that list, go crazy, fix this stuff, wrestle 3 days a week, lift 3 days a week, spend 3 hours a week studying, the sports psychology and how the mind works, and some tactics about peak performance and how to be cool under pressure and how to have fun in stressful situations and how to perform in big matches. And if you take that 3-3-3 approach, that's going to help you guys tremendously. Either way, Looking forward to seeing you have a good season. The Man of the Arena, the best poem ever. If. You should look that poem up. It's called If. It's amazing. So there's a little extras for you. You can see my decorations. Good luck.